some of you here tonight will be very confident about your figures. You'll feel very happy about your bookwork, you're very organised. In fact, for you, it'll be a piece of cake. Whereas for others, you'll be absolutely terrified. You'll be so scared that you actually won't want to do anything. Well, what if you too could feel happy about your figures, confident about what you're doing, and be able to just take that step and push your business forward? My aim with this talk is to make you feel like that about your business, to feel happy and to feel content. So let's get started. I'm assuming that you are mainly sole traders, small limited companies. Is that right? Yeah. So if I say to you, figures, bookwork, maths, how does that make you feel?
No problem.
No
problem at all.
That's good. That's good to hear.
Oh, well, that's lovely. I don't feel fine with it
That's good. Glad to hear it.
Yes.
Because for a lot of people, of course, figures, sums, anything like that takes them back to being in that maths class and really not knowing what's going on, just being stuck and thinking, well, there's no point in even asking this question because I won't understand the answer. Now at school, of course, we could wing it. There'd be somebody we could ask, maybe another teacher if we didn't want to approach the maths teacher. But now we need to do it because this is our business. We need to move forward. And I know it's always easy to get distracted and to think, well, I really don't want to do that. You know, for a lot of us, there's filing, recording needs doing, and we just think, oh, I'd rather do anything than do that. I know with me, when I was doing my professional exams, part of the courses was auditing, and I just found it so boring. I just think, I'd get my books ready, I'd get all my papers ready, and I'd think, right, that's it, I'm going to do a chapter of auditing. And then I think, no, I can't do it, I've got to clean the bathroom. And the bathroom was never as clean as when I was doing those auditing exams, because I just thought, I just can't bear it. And I think for all of us, we put distractions in our way when there's things that we don't want to do. But unfortunately, with things like this, we do need to do it. It's a case of getting on with it. So, when we set up in business, there have been various reasons why we set up. Some of them will have been financial. We'll have thought, I've got a great idea, and I think I can make a lot of money out of it. Some of them will have been, well, I've got a great idea. I don't mind whether I make money out of it or not, but I just want to go for it. I want to see if it works. Other ones, it will have been a lifestyle. People would have thought, I don't want to keep driving all the way to Birmingham, or I can do everything that I want to do at home. Why do I need to be at the office? You know, maybe there's children who need picking up at school, dropping at school. It's all a lifestyle choice. And if it's lifestyle, it's easy because you'll know when you've achieved your goals because you'll feel happier, you'll feel better. Whereas if it's financial, if you've got no idea about your figures and all of your filing is over there somewhere or the accountant's got it and you don't know what's going on, how are you going to know if you've reached your targets? Because when you set up in business, you'll have given yourself some goals. But if your figures aren't up to date, you actually won't know if you're achieving those goals. So I think sometimes it's easier if we think, nobody's making me sort my tax return out, sort my year-end accounts out. I've got to do this for me. And I think sometimes that change in attitude of thinking, those figures are useful for me to know, rather than somebody bullying you into doing it. I need to know those figures because I need to know how the business is doing. So I think sometimes that change in attitude will work. Now, what do we need to do what's our bit in all of this process? Well, I think the main thing, and what I've found in the 10 years of trading, is people need to have a system set up that they like and that they understand. It needs to be your system and you need to like it. Now that's over and above everything else. I know I've had customers come to me and they'll say, well, I need to have Sage. And I'll say, well, why do you need to have Sage? And they'll say, well, the bank told me to. And I'll say, well, the bank told you to because they're making money out of it. Because for a lot of people, they've got no idea about accounting packages, but they do know how to use Excel. So it's getting that system that you like, and it works or doesn't work really, really well if you've got that system. See, one of my colleagues, she did her tax return for the first time last year. She hadn't set the system up. Her husband, who's a computer consultant, had set it up. So she started trying to sort a tax return out and then had to give up because she didn't understand the system. And I'm thinking, that's a shame, because it's her business, it's her livelihood. She wanted to have a go, but she couldn't because the system wasn't hers. And that system can be manual or spreadsheets or an accounting software, or it can all be online. It doesn't matter. Because I know for some people, they'll think, oh, it's 2015, it's all on the internet, it's all online, I can't do things manually. But you can. If that's what suits you better, then I would do that. So, on to filing and recording. Now, for a lot of people I've come across, this is their filing cabinet, but maybe I've been told that maybe the bag should be a bit older than this bag. And this could be their filing for the year, just 12 brown envelopes. But of course the problem with these envelopes is that you can lose everything. And you can't find anything. So if you take it one step better than that, you can actually file like this so that you can find everything. So you've got your display book, you staple all the smaller receipts so that you don't lose them. The amount of times I've had people turn up with a carrier bag just full of receipts thrown into the bag, or they've lost some along the way. So at least here, if you think, well, I bought a laptop at some point in the year, it's easy enough to find. So there's your starting point for your filing and recording. Now this is what I mean about the manual. If you want to stick with the manual system, just use a simple bookkeeping analysis book. Don't use anything, if you're not VAT registered and you haven't got stock, don't go down the route of picking a book up like that, because it's too complicated. And really you can just record your information in there very easily. So what I've done on here, if you want to go down the Excel route, here's your spreadsheets. Very, very simple. Recording every month. This is the crux of it. You've got all of your expenses across the top, and all of those need to add to the total. I've got all of these, and I'm happy to send them over to anybody who'd like a copy of them. But really, that is as simple as you need to go. You don't need exciting packages or anything, because for most of us, we're happy with spreadsheets as long as the formulas are correct. And that's why I say to people, well, I'll send you them, because then I know they're correct. So with expenditure, probably for most people, they're happy about what's tax deductible, what they can put through the books. You know, if I go to Asda and buy some paper or buy some envelopes, it's a business expense. But a lot of people tend to struggle with the idea of what's subsistence and what's entertaining. And then they're sort of, I'll notice as I go through that I'll say very clearly what's subsistence and what's entertaining. But then I notice that maybe there's a family gone out and there's a couple of children's meals. And I think, well, obviously this is entertaining. So it's things like that to be aware of. See, if I'm working out to clients and I buy a sandwich and a drink, that's subsistence. Because if I wasn't there, then I wouldn't need to be buying it. Whereas if I think, oh God, the business is going really well, I'll go out and have a meal with my friends, have some wine, that's entertaining. And another one that people struggle with is, should they charge mileage or should they charge motor expenses? Now really that depends on the business. So with me, because it's clear, I go to training, I see clients, it's very easy for me to have that book in the car, I'll write down my mileage, the date, where I'm going, why I'm going, the amount of miles, and then once a month I total it up, charge 45p. It's very clear and very simple. The motor expenses, I say to people, if you want to go down the motor expenses route, then just do it annually. So it's literally all your petrol and diesel costs, in car insurance, car tax, MOT. But then the problem is, if you haven't kept your mileage record, you actually don't know what the proportion of the cost is that's business and that's personal. So what I say to people is, if you haven't done it before, then for the first year do both, so that you've got mileage and you've got your motor expenses. Then you can see from your mileage record what proportion to charge, but also you can see what's the most tax efficient. So it's things like that, being aware of what's actually a business expense and what isn't, to have things properly filed and recorded, that really means that if the revenue does decide to inspect, then it's all there, you've got everything. And one thing I've noticed that people do struggle with is, I'll say to clients, where's your income records, where's your invoices and your receipts? And they'll say, well, all my income's in the bank. And I'm like, well, that's not good enough. You need to have something physically to prove to the revenue that you've had that money, it's in chronological order, and you've got all your income disclosed in the accounts. But then they'll say, well, the client doesn't want an invoice, and I'll say, well, that's okay. As long as you've got your record, then that's okay. And that can be as simple as a duplicate receipt. It hasn't got to be an invoice, but there needs to be some kind of record. And I think it's things like that that you're thinking all the time, let's keep it organised for ourselves, but also let's keep it organised for the revenue. And on the same point as the expenditure, the income is just as simple. You literally are line by line from here, writing down all of the information, totaling up each month. So for most people, they can do that, and it gives them the record. And what happens then is, if you've got your expenditure and income up to date, you can progress onto your cash budget. And this is where, for a lot of people, it's one of those things that's always on a list, and they think, oh, I'm going to do that one of these times. And it's one of the ones that they just think, I'm not going to get round to it. And this is the sticking point, the receipts. Because they'll have a good idea about the payments, but on the receipt side, they'll think, well, I don't really know how much money is coming in this month, let alone later. But you've got to have some kind of good guesstimate to actually put some figures in. Because otherwise, how are you going to know? How are you going to know how your business is doing without actually having figures in there? See, with me, it's actually okay, because unless I upset clients or they go out of business, then I actually know that the clients I had last year and that when I receive their money will be the same this year. Whereas for a lot of people, there isn't that consistency. But there will be a seasonality to a lot of businesses, so then you'll be able to see when you're expecting money in and when there's any peaks and troughs. So I think it's things like that to be aware of, you know, to be able to move your business forward. So what about if you think, that's all right, Anna, it's actually much easier than we thought, sounds very organised, sounds very easy, but I don't want to do it. That's fine, don't do it. delegate it. If you just think, I can't be bothered, it needs doing, but it's not my thing, I want to concentrate on business. See, one of my clients is probably the best driving instructor in the country. He doesn't want to be bothered doing his accounts. So all he does is he puts bank statements, invoices, his timesheets of when he's driving the cars, puts it in an envelope. I update all of his records, so he always knows everything's up to date. He has 6 monthly management accounts, he knows how much tax he's got to pay, but he hasn't had to do anything. All he's had to do is drop that envelope through the door. He knows that I will sort it out. Another one of my clients, probably the last gunsmiths in Birmingham, who I just happen to have, it's the sister of the director who does the accounts. She's probably been doing them since she was a teenager. They're all manual records. She doesn't want to be learning the computer now, but she knows that everything's got to be done online. So she gives me her manual books, and this is what I'm saying about manual records. I very rarely find any mistakes in those records because she knows what she's doing, she understands the procedures involved. I check everything. I file that quarterly VAT return. I file her wages every month. I sort out the accounts and file the tax return. So she's doing the bit that she wants to do, but then she's choosing not to do all of it, which works because then you can concentrate on the business that you want to concentrate on. But what I would say is if you do decide to delegate, then watch who you delegate to. I know I've had a lot of people who've said, well, you're an accountant, we don't need an accountant, we'll use a bookkeeper. Well, no disrespect to bookkeepers, but bookkeepers are unregulated, and I've come across good bookkeepers and I've come across really bad bookkeepers. So if you're going down the bookkeeper route, get one recommended. If you're going down the accountant route, get one recommended as well, but also meet them. See if you can talk to them, because in the 10 years of trading, I've found accountants have got such a bad press. You know, people find them really boring, they're scared of them, they don't know what they're there for, they don't know what they can ask them about. So much so that I wrote this book, Accountants Don't Bite, just to say, this is what you should expect from an accountant. These are the questions you can ask. This is what they're there to do. And they are supposed to be on your side. So if you are going to go down the accountant route, then talk to them. Because really, I know with my clients, they'll tell me everything. And they want to be able to trust me that I'm actually on their side and I'm not going to be talking to everybody else about their business. So be aware. And then if you think, well, yeah, this all sounds great, I want to have a go myself. Well, have a go. I've done these two guides, stress-free tax returns and bank reconciliations, and they are very easy to follow, pictorial guides, because I think it's important for you to be able to do it if you want to, and to understand some of the process. Because what people tend to find, if I say to them, can you give me your books and records ready for me to prepare your tax return? They've got no idea what I'm actually on about. Whereas in this, it will show you with the build-up of the income and the build-up of expenditure. So it means you can do it yourself. And I think it's important to get some of that knowledge to be able to use it. So hopefully that's a sort of a whistle-top tour, and it's made you feel better about your accounts. Over to Claire, who actually said...
loads better for coming. Sorry, go on.
No, I'm just hoping that you feel a bit better about your accounts. And I'd like to say I'm here if people want to ask questions, either now or afterwards. And also, I give mentoring sessions if you feel you don't want an accountant or don't need an accountant, but there are financial questions that are stopping you from moving forward, then I offer mentoring sessions as well. Thank you.
I think for me, it is on the head. an accountant who's had some real family problems to the point he had a very nasty accident and was taken into hospital and this, that and the other, and my accounts, you know, he can't be in a trauma unit for months and then doing my accounts at the same time. And I've dealt with this man for, 18 years now. But it came to the stage where I've been tolerant and tolerant and tolerant and tolerant, and time goes on. And then all of a sudden, I'm left in a position where I can't move my business forward because my accountant can't be offering the services that he can to you know, he's had to go through rehabilitation and this, that and the other, and it was time he couldn't walk. And now I feel that my business is suffering, and I'm glad that you said about, you know, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. In my industry, I've got an engineering business, and in my business, I haven't got the time, and it's not that I'm putting it off. It's not that. I can't sit in my office and go, okay, I'm going to spend 2 hours doing this undisturbed, because I don't know what's coming through the door. I've got people banging on my door with an hydraulic ram that's in pieces that they need. So all of a sudden I've got to stop my account and go out and sort that out, and then I might be going to buy steel, and then I might, and I literally don't know what comes through my door at any one time. So for me, I either sit there and do longer hours than what I'm already doing, and by then you're tired and you need to be able to concentrate. And I just think it's horses for courses. I do my bit in my business and do that. And being a small business, I feel as if I want an accountant as part of my team of people and extend it to another small business, and you know, an accountancy business whereby you work with each other. You know, instead of big businesses, they have, oh right, okay, well we've got our one depot here, but ring our accounts department in Luton or whatever. For me, I want the same sort of thing from a small business, and if you can offer me that sort of service, then I'll be very, very interested in speaking to you after this. And I do think this is it. Like, I've been a member of the FSB for 2 years. I think I've been to 2 meetings and said, you know, but these I saw and I thought, yeah, this is beneficial to me. So, really thank you to the FSB for putting this on. That's it, that's my view.
Hello.
I'd like to say that I agree with, what's your name?
Claire.
Claire, I'm Stuart.
Hello.
And I am in business with Alan, and we do an authentic jerk chicken and jerk sauce and jerk marinade also. Now, exactly what you have just said is the same situation that I find myself in. Now, I do most of the administrative stuff in our business, and fortunately for me, I have a little bit of accounting knowledge, so I'm able to operate the electronic system and so on. But the real issue is, talk about time, finding the time to do it is really what is killing me off. Because, as you say, you have one crisis you have to deal with, something happens, you have to stop. You can't do what you're really supposed to be doing. And before you know it, the day is done, and then you're supposed to stop working at 8. You don't stop until midnight. Then you're up at 6, and it just goes on and on and on. So what I do sometimes is I just say, listen, okay, stop. Take myself away. I said, I don't care what's going on. Do not interrupt me. I am not here because this has got to be done. And that works sometimes.
Oh, Daddy, just for you, because I even put notes on my door. Do not disturb. People still go. Just think, go away.
It's really difficult. It's a very, very difficult balancing act. And you know, sometimes I'm not sure how to deal with it, but it gets done. It wears you out to the point where you think, well, listen, I really can't be bothered with this. This business is not paying me for the time that I'm putting into it, so why should I bother? You know, but
I think it's always difficult, isn't it, the time management, and also finding people. We were talking about this earlier, weren't we? Finding people to help you, and that's why I sort of said about the bookkeepers, because I've come across so many horror stories where they've passed everything over, and then nothing's been done or it's been done badly. So yeah, it is. That's why I've said if you don't want to do it or you haven't got the time, then just pass it, but pass it to somebody who knows what they're doing.
I think the other thing is as well, I think accountancy laws, I mean, I'm a lawyer by trade, so, you know, I was qualified as a lawyer and all that jazz, but the law changes, and accountancy laws change all the time. So what I think I might know and be able to claim 4 or 5 years ago will be at a completely different rate than I can claim for now. Might not be able to claim for it. And like you say, you know, about your sandwich thing, I don't think I've ever put any food through of any sort, because to me, I think, oh, I just can't be bothered, because I don't know exactly what I'm supposed to be claiming for. Like I asked you the question about the car thing, because I'm in a position now where my car's set on fire, and I need to be able to, I need a car, and it's, do I lease a car, or do I buy another car? I've never leased a car before. You go to the leasing companies, you say, ask your accountant. I can't get in touch with my accountant for lovely money, so I'm in a bit of a catch-22 situation. And I'm thinking, well, you know, what do I do? And I want to be able, I haven't got time to go moving from one accountant to another. I want to keep the revenue happy. I want to be able to know where I'm going with my business. And I don't want to sit there trawling through books going, can I claim for this? Can't I claim for that? What's the rate for this? What's the rate for that? If it's at the end of the day, if the accountant that I'm going to use is going to save me money, then they're worth every penny, aren't they? So that's the way I look at it.
Yeah, and I think you've made a good point, because that's the problem, that people think businesses will be overstating the amount that they're trying to put through. But like you said, because you don't know what to claim, you claim less.
Yeah.
And that's most of the time what I'll come across. There'll be some who are trying to get through kids' clothes and meals with kids and things like that. But for a lot of people, I'll say, well, why haven't you put that through? And they'll say, well, I didn't know I could claim for it. So it's things like that. You need to have a good knowledge and just think, well, is it a business expense? Is it a grey area where I need to ask somebody? And that's why I said about, have you got questions that you need to ask? Because it's things like that that you've only got to ask them once, and generally they won't change. But you do need to ask.
Put them in anyway, because I'm really pleased with our accountant, my accountant. Really, I've known her for a long, long time, and she always tells me, be reasonable with the taxman. He will see reason. So if I'm not sure, I'll still put it in anyway. But if I buy a particular suit for a particular business function, but I'm going to wear that suit myself afterwards for personal reasons, it may not be applicable. But if I bought something specific that I'm repetitively wear, then yes, it may be. So by being reasonable, I say that because we have a tax, the last tax demand was X amount of pounds, and then we suddenly realised that we've done an awful lot of evening work from home, and we could claim against the expenses of heating and telephone, which we were genuinely using, and we brought the tax right down by being reasonable, but not being, as some people are greedy. I think people get greedy, and they do put in kids' clothes open the tax on half notice, and you go out for a dinner and you're paying for 6 people, whereas really none of them are business contact, it's no business purpose. So I think you're quite right on that.
Yeah, and I think it is, it's getting that balance, and it does tend to be usually one extreme to another, so either not claiming enough or trying to claim too much, rather than going down the middle route. So yeah, and that's why I say keep the receipts just in case, because, you know, for a lot of my clients I'll say, well, where are the receipts for this? Oh, I didn't know I could claim for that, so I threw them away. And then it's like, what can you do now then? So at least, like you said, if you've got them, what some of my clients tend to do is they'll have like a little query pile, and they'll say, well, I've put all of those through because I knew they were okay, and I've given you those, but I don't know if they're okay. But at least they're there, rather than just filing them in the bin.
I think what I've been guilty of over the years is literally just saying to the accountant, there's the carry back, there you go.
Yeah.
He's given me back and said you've got X amount to pay. Okay, there's the cheque, pay it. And I've never really asked why, what, where, because I've always thought, can't be bothered. Whether that was because I was younger and, you know, I don't know. I have no idea. You know, my daughter was growing up at that point, so it's like really wasn't, you know, an interest to me. But now I've sort of, my daughter's 21 and I'm devoting more time to my business and I can see my business moving in different avenues. I'm actually thinking, well, yeah, I do want to, I'm at that stage where it's like, I do want to know what's going on. I don't want to do it, but I want to know what's going on and I want to know what I'm supposed to be putting forward and, you know, just getting that little bit more knowledge and understanding, but still not wanting to do it, wanting it signed off by somebody who's professional in that field. You know, that's it, that's yours, fine.
And that's what I'm saying about choose an accountant you can talk to, because like the driving instructor I mentioned, after those 6 months accounts are done, he knows how much corporation tax to pay. We have a meeting, we go through anything. If there's anything that he's doing that I think, actually that's not a good idea, then we'll go through it and sort it out. So there's that communication going on. And I know with my clients, I'll always say to them, well, these are the recommendations. Some people think, well, I didn't want to do any of it, so I'm not going to do more. Whereas other people will think, well, yeah, that's actually good, that'll save me time, so I'll do it in that way in future. So it's that communication, it's that give and take, really. Yeah.
One thing I've come across quite a lot in the last 18 months, 2 years, I've switched a lot of different businesses and they've all using accountants that don't have time to do it themselves. And I said, okay, what's your cash flow like at the moment? How much is this costing you? I would have to ask the accountant. And I was just say to people, that is really the wrong place to be. Yeah. It's all right passing over to an accountant, but you need to know. Yeah. That was a big problem with Sage, that, you know, Sage is great, you can put it all, you can't see it, you can't let it see it yourself, sort of thing. What online software, cloud-based software, would you recommend?
Xero. Xero's the only one that I would recommend. And I think it was somebody who was using, I don't think it was QuickBooks last year, but they didn't know what they were doing.
Yeah.
And they gave everything to me, and it was last minute, like it always is, and they said it's going to be much easier this time because it's all online. First thing I did was try and balance the bank. The bank was out by £60,000 because they didn't know what they were doing. And that's why I'm saying with a system, choose a system that you like and you understand.
Yeah.
Because if they'd said to me, there's all the bank statements, there's all the purchases, there's all the sales invoices, get on with it, it would have been so much quicker than trying to find and trying to sort out a mess, which wouldn't have been a mess if they'd said to somebody, I don't understand how this package works, what do I do? Whereas with Xero,